In this lesson, I will tell you about loft command of AutoCAD. So here in this geometry, we have these three circles which are made on the same plane which are parallel to each other. So let's orbit this drawing to see it more clearly. So right now you can see that we have these three circles on XY plane, but the planes are parallel to each other and there is some gap between all of these circles. Let's select loft command from this flyout, and here you'll see this loft from modeling panel. Now look at the command line. This will prompt you to select all the cross sections in lofting order, and this lofting order is extremely important. So now we'll select three different geometries here in a proper order. So let's first click on this circle, then click on this middle circle, and then click on this last circle. And once you do this, you'll notice that a curve will be made. Let's press enter and enter again. So we are pressing enter twice and a curve has been made. Let's see what kind of curve we get. So here is the curve that we have. Let's undo this change and let's go to this shaded view. So this will make our drawing more clear. Now let's go to this loft again. Let's select this first geometry, then the second geometry, and then the third geometry, and now you can see the difference. So here we have this loft. Let's press enter once. Now once you do this, you'll see that we still have this command in continuation and the command is not yet completed, and you'll see a small arrow here. So let's click on this small arrow and select some other option from this. We have one option, normal to all sections. Let's select this one, and you can directly see the change which is reflected here. In a similar way, you can select other options like normal to end a section, normal to start section, and you can also select some other options like normal to start and end both sections. So whatever the geometry type which you want, you can select it. I'm selecting smooth fit, and once you are satisfied with the geometry, press enter to complete it. Now let's press Ctrl Z to undo this change. Now I'll select loft again, but this time I'll reverse the lofting order. So I'll select this as the first geometry, but not this as the second geometry. For second geometry, let's select this one. And now for third geometry, select this one. Now press enter twice, and here we have a completely new geometry with the same set of 2D geometries. So this is only due to the change in lofting order. So this lofting order is important and it will decide which kind of geometry you'll finally be able to make. Let's press exit and now undo these changes. Now it is not necessary to have all the similar kind of geometries for making loft. Here we have these two circles, and in the middle we have a polygon here. We can use this kind of geometry also for making loft, or you can use three geometries which are completely different from each other, but make sure that geometries are not too different or the cross sections are not very large or small compared with each other. So let's select this geometry, select loft. Now click at this circle, then this polygon, and then this circle again, and here we have a completely new geometry. And here also, if you reverse the lofting order, a new geometry will be made. So let's select these options, and you can change these options as you have changed in this geometry. Once you're satisfied, press enter, and here is the final geometry. Now let's move on to this geometry. Now in this situation, you may see all these extra lines. Let's orbit this geometry to see it more clearly. So we have these three circles which are the same as three circles here, but we also have these extra splines which are made in a perpendicular plane of these circles. So we'll use these also to make the geometry. So let's zoom it. So now let's select this loft command, and from this loft you'll see that we have here multiple options. So let's select point from command line, and now let's specify a point from where this loft will start. So far we've started this loft from a geometry, but this time we'll start it from a point. So let's go to this point, but don't click. Now drag your cursor downwards and click at this point. So this was the random point from where our loft will start. Now click at this first geometry, then the second one, and the third one. And here we have this geometry starting from this point, and there goes the geometry. Let's press enter and press enter again to complete it. So here is this different kind of geometry starting from a point. Let's undo these changes, go to loft command, and let's make a new geometry here. So let's select this first point, second one, and the third curve. Press enter. Now, after pressing enter, look at the command line and you'll see that we have some extra options like guides, path, and cross sections. So let's go to this guides subcommand for now. Now we'll select some guides along which this geometry will be made. So here we have these two guides. So let's select this geometry as the first guide, and now you'll notice that our loft will follow that guide along this direction. You can also select the second guide, which is here, and the geometry will follow that guide along that direction as well. So press enter when finished, and here we have a lofted geometry but a completely different one. So this feature can be used to make very organic shaped geometries and geometries which cannot be made with the standard command of AutoCAD 3D. You can harness the property of this loft tool with guides. We also have path option for making this geometry. So here we have a spline which joins these two midpoints along with this midpoint as well, and we'll use this path for making the loft. So let's select loft, select this first cross section, then the second cross section, and the third. Now press enter, and from command line select path, and this time I'll select this spline as the path. And as soon as you make the selection, you'll see that this loft now follows the path which we have selected. And once you select path, you won't be able to select the guides. And even after selecting guides, you won't be able to select the path. So you need to make sure that only one option, either guide or path, can be selected. So this was all about loft command. In the next section, I will tell you about some solid editing tools which will be used to manipulate the drawings which we have made so far using draw or modeling commands.